Hey everyone, welcome back to Low Luxury, the channel where I show you what authentic luxury clothing and streetwear looks like. And today I'm super psyched because the brand Cactus Plant Flea Market, one of my favorites, just came out with a new collaborative capsule with Nike. I think it's some of their best pieces that they do with Nike. Of course, everyone knows the sneakers from like the most recent Swarovski crystal ones that go for thousands of dollars to the older ones, but even the pieces of apparel are absolutely incredible. And we've got like this jersey here, short sleeve jersey. It's got the classic kind of like cactus plant bubble lettering, appliques, embroidery, all sorts of really cool stuff. So I'm so excited to unbox this thing and check it out with you. So let's do it. But first, I've looked into it and a very small percentage of you are actually subscribed to the channel. It's completely free. Just press that button and you will not regret it. Thank you so much. And in the beginning, there was a bag. Yep, so it just comes in this pretty large plastic bag, a little bit crinkly, it's fairly thin. As far as I can tell, yeah, there's nothing printed on the front of this bag. On the back side of it, you do have this kind of rectangular border here that takes up most of the bag. And in there, you've got all the typical warnings. It starts off in English and then goes through every language on earth, essentially. And then down at the bottom, you've got some recycling symbols centered there, and off to the right you have the sticker, which is probably the most important piece that's on the bag here. So this is pretty similar to all Nike stickers. You've got this kind of yellow highlighter bar up at the top, and you've got men's, and then a model number underneath that. You can look that up, make sure your piece comes up and it's not some other weirdo piece. Off to the right, you've got a bold S for small, that's the size. Then you get a barcode. And at the very bottom, little type, you've got suggested retail, all caps, and then much bigger and bolder off to the right, you have the suggested retail price there. And that's about all you get with the bag here. It is a simple kind of fold over adhesive here. So let's get this thing open and see what we got. Oh, I ripped the bag. Fun. Whatever. I don't care. I'm a rebel. Ooh, yes, I love it. I'm so hyped. Okay, we've got all these little pieces of paper here. They're so useless. They're so tiny. What is the point of that? Oh my God. So there you go. There's our piece right there. You can see it's a pretty classic jersey. Those sleeves are huge there. And let's see, where do we even start? How sick is that? I love especially the air up there. All right, well, let's start with these retail tags that come with the piece. So this is your kind of typical tag that you get with Nike collabs with these other brands. I've got ambush Nike pieces that have a logo lockup like this, Nike Fear of God, stuff like that. But here, so you've got Cactus Plant Flea Market around the edges, and these are embossed. You can feel each of these letters popping out. And then you've got the Nike logo in the middle there. Let me focus. Yeah, there you go. Focus up on that bad boy. And this is just matte white, kind of like mid-weight. You can bend it. It bends pretty easily. And on the back of that, we've got a little number up there. I'm not sure what that is. Down at the bottom, you've got some various kind of logos and copyright info, stuff like that. And then in the middle, you've got a sticker that's almost identical to the one that was on the bag, except for the fact that this one also has your QR and RFID codes there. But other than that, essentially the same. Please note that that model number matches the one that was on the bag as well. There's no reason that this should be any different from what was on the sticker on the bag. If they're different, that's a bad sign. These are attached with this little kind of thin black string, and those go up to a little black safety pin right through the corner of the brand tag at the back of the neck there. And speaking of which, let's take a look at that tag next. So this is a nice big embroidered loop tag. You can see it's folded over like that. And it is just kind of a matte white there, and stitched in there in blue and orange, you've got that kind of classic Nike swoosh logo. You can see the swoosh in orange just goes under the end of the E just a tiny bit. That's a good thing to look at right there. And then smaller type, all caps, you've got sportswear down there, USA with dots in between each. You've got a little circled S there for the size. And you can see actually that circled S, it looks like it ends a little bit further off to the right than the end of the R in sportswear, so that's a good thing to look at there. The back of that has the swoosh in blue, then a little sizing chart there, and that's really all you got here. If we look to the inside of this tag, you can see like the inverse colors. You've also got a lot of orange in there, a lot of blue, stuff like that. And you can see where this tag is stitched right into the seam at the back of the neck there. And underneath this, you've got a little kind of matte white piece of like plasticky, just typical tag stuff. And you've got a lot of space there till down at the bottom you get made in China, fabrique and Chine. And the back side of that is totally blank. All right, now let's take a look at the care tags that are inside the shirt. So this would be on your left side if you were wearing the shirt. And you can see it's just circle stitched right into that side seam in the same color as the jersey itself, that dark green. And this tag itself is a very thin kind of papery material, matte white. And first up there you have some various like RN and CA numbers, and then the country of origin, so made in China. Then you get that sizing chart once again. That's quite big and takes up quite a bit of space there. You can see how far over the S and the CH are on the tag. They almost reach the edges there. Then in smaller type, still all caps, you get into the fabrication. So this one's 100% polyester. Then you've got 5 washing symbols, and then you get into your washing instructions starting with English, and then it looks like French. On the back of that, those washing instructions finish in French. And then you've got a ton of space there until you get to the quality control sticker, which is always a good sign if it has that. And then underneath that, you've got this tiny little tag here, which as you can see, it has that CZ model number, which again matches the other places where we've seen that. And then you get a little swoosh there. And the back of that is blank. Now it's time to take a look at the unique elements of this piece, and I'm so hyped. So where to even begin? Let's start with this tag down here in the bottom right. So this is like a silver gray embroidered tag. You can see it's stitched down and it looks like a kind of gray silver again down on all 4 sides. They're pretty clean stitches. There's a little bit of messiness here and there. I mean, Nike, it's not the highest quality stuff, kind of lower price point, so it's to be expected that things might not be perfect. And then you get this big bold box here. You can see all this lettering and stuff is really, really clean. You've got white on red for the swoosh here in this box, and team in all caps. Look at the spacing there. There's quite a bit of space between each letter. Then engineered to the exact specifications of championship athletes. You can see that those all match up really well in this kind of box, that lettering there. Then big and bold in black, you get XL. Even though this is a size small, this is always going to say XL no matter what size you actually have. Then you've got name and number. That's a blank white box here. And then off to the right of this, you've got this little silver loop tag that says authentic in it. And that is a kind of folded over loop tag that's coming off of this side of that. I love that. It's a really cool piece there. Now let's look at some of these appliques. I guess let's start off in the top left here with the Nike. So this is a kind of like polyester type of mesh. You can kind of see the texture that it has in there. And then it's stitched down on all sides with this kind of like bubbly white stitching here. And you can see it's kind of like bubble letters. The K and the E are connected, whereas the N and I are separate. And you've got a nice big swoosh right underneath there. And take a look at the spacing and how close that swoosh is to the Nike. Starts right here at the tip, right at the end of the I, and then it comes quite a bit over after the end of the Nike. And off to the right, we've got probably my favorite applique here, which is the kind of like puffy, I don't know, terry applique lettering. This is what Cactus Plant Flea Market is really known for. So you've got this really big air here, and you can see the kind of texture of that popping out if I can focus on it. I love that, and it's just stitched down on all sides. The A and the I are connected in this case, and the R is separate. And then going across the chest, you've got Go Flea and this kind of runner guy. So this is very similar to the effect that the Nike had. It's just stitched down. Oh, actually, it's a bit different. So this was just stitched down on the edges, and then it had this mesh, whereas this is all embroidery. So you can see the stitches there. So you've got Go Flea. And the spacing is interesting. They're kind of like off on different angles from each other. The flea like goes downwards. And then it's this running guy that's actually similar to the Nike up there. So you can see that kind of like meshy pattern in there. So it's really the shorts and the shoes that have that. And then the rest is more of just like an outline with this different textured green inside. It's just so cool. I love this. It's like a corduroy in there. So, so sick. And while we're looking at the front, You can see that most of it is like this jersey material here, but then obviously you've got all of these interesting darker green mesh panels going throughout. I love that. And you've got kind of like a ribbed V-neck here, which is great. And then you've got two elements at the back here. You've got Just Do It, and you've got the number 72, and then it gets right to the bottom of the piece. So let's look at the Just Do It. The J doesn't have any curve to it. It's really more like a long, skinny I. And you can see this is kind of embroidered with the letter and then stitched down on all four sides with a little bit of extra stuff around the edges, very cactus plant stylings. I love that lettering. You've got this big bold period, kind of oval of a period back there. And then the 72 is more of like a typical applique. Like, I don't even know what this is. It's kind of a big piece of screen printing that's then like glued down onto the piece or something. But you can see the lines are very clean, very nice. But it's interesting how this stuff it does kind of like stick out the top of the jersey a bit. And now if we turn the piece inside out, you can really see how clean everything is here. So here is that air. And all you really see here is the outline of this stitching, a couple places where they've like tied things off, and that's it. Super, super clean. Same thing with the Nike and the swoosh here. And for the Go Flea and this guy here, it's, yeah, just really, really clean stitched outlines. Nothing messy about it at all. You can see the outlines of these things perfectly. Super, super clear. So now that we've checked all of that out, let's try this piece on to see how it feels and see how it fits. Man, I think this piece is sick. Let's talk about the sizing first because that's easy enough. I'd say on this thing, sizing is essentially irrelevant. So it's tagged as a size small, but as you can see, it's absurdly, absurdly oversized. It's just like an oversized jersey. Like, so it's tagged as small. I'd say it fits like an XL, 2XL maybe. You can see the sleeves are absolutely massive. They're essentially 3/4 sleeves, even though they're ostensibly short sleeves. But I think it's really cool. I don't mind the fit at all. Oversized is great. But if you're looking for a more fitted, tighter fit, definitely size down, like 2 sizes maybe. If they even make them that small, if you're a smaller person, you're kind of out of luck. You're gonna have to go oversized. But I think it's great. I think it's cool. The feel is awesome. It's a lightweight jersey. It's not heavy, it's not thick, it's very thin, it's very soft. It just it breathes really well even through the polyester and of course the mesh panels, because you can see those have kind of holes to them. Yeah, it's really light, it's airy, it's comfortable. So I could see myself wearing this thing all the time. And of course with all this really signature Cactus Plant Nike branding, it's as good as it gets. It's a really, really cool piece and I'm so excited to have it. So that is how you tell the difference between real and fake Cactus Plant Flea Market Nike pieces. Take a look at the other video on screen here, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you next time.